Right, Shalom, Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushua, Bahasham Machak Wadash, double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, and wherever you may be, to I say Shalom, Yahshua, Shalom. We're going to get into a various article session here, just different topics. So we're just going to jump right into it. This first, and we'll probably be jumping, here to there, so just bear with it. But I'm going to start off with this clip here, based on what live streamed last night. All right, from the elder. All right, from Mississippi. So let's play it.
Elon Musk's Neuralink has successfully implanted its brain chip in a patient in the United Kingdom, enabling the patient to control a computer using only his thoughts. The man, paralyzed by motor neuron disease, received the Neuralink implant at University College London hospitals early this month. Neuralink, Musk's brain implant company, confirmed the UK milestone on X. Paul, the patient, was able to control a computer just hours after surgery. The company says Paul is now collaborating with engineers to use the implant for everyday tasks, including playing his favorite video games. Neuralink had announced a clinical study in the UK back in July, partnering with University College London hospitals and Newcastle hospitals to test its chips on patients. The company aims to implant 20,000 chips annually by 2031 and generate at least $1 billion in yearly revenue. Beyond mobility, Neuralink is also developing implants to restore vision, decode speech directly from the brain, and treat Parkinson's disease. It's also developing implants to restore vision, decode speech directly from the brain, and treat Parkinson's disease. Restore vision, decode speech directly from the brain, and treat Parkinson's disease.
All right, you heard him. Restore vision. It's decipher words basically straight from the brain, and so on and so forth, and treat Parkinson's disease. Now, also you have the company Synchron. All right, that's another one to look into as well. And I think that's it for there. So we're going to jump over here to actually the video, the elder here, just to get a little bit of his video. And we'll see, if we can. We'll just jump in here at some point. All right.
Due to motor neuron disease, receive the company's telepathy.
And so, perfect. That's right there. And what I was about to say is he's basically reading from a particular article that was pulled up. Okay. So we'll just let this play a little bit, just to hit a little bit of this. So let's go.
Germany. You look at the UK. There's a lot of people that had this tech. Now it says on a Monday post on X, Neuralink announced that its first UK participant, Paul, who suffers from paralysis due to motor neuron disease, received the company's telepathy brain implant at University College London hospitals earlier this month. Right, so they already implanted this guy with the technology earlier this month, but now they're just revealing it to you. Now they're pretty much, putting this guy on exhibit, showcasing their work. According to the company, Paul.
And as always, call these people guinea pigs, okay? Guinea pigs, and you might hear me from time to time liking them to that one Spider-Man. Actually, it wasn't Spider-Man. It was the Venom movie, okay? Can't remember which one it was. I think it was the first one. But this dude was the symbiote thing. I think they call it symbiote. The symbiote, okay, where he had it. And he's basically trying to, he kept offering these homeless people money from off the street to see if he can find someone that the symbiote could bond with and be like perfect with in their body. Okay. And, those people just kept dying until the dude, Brock, came along. All right. Which he wasn't one of the patients. I don't think he was. I can't remember. But yeah, and the symbiote bonded with him. Okay. And the reason why I mentioned that and them, these real life people is because they're just basically guinea pigs. They're people who have certain setbacks in life and they're offered, this technology. Oh, because you have this and this, and well, we have this technology can help you out and so on and so forth. Okay. And, pretty much they become guinea pigs to help in the perfection of their technology. All right, because that's what it's all about. It's about perfecting it. It's not that like they don't have the technology. Okay, they have the C-hip, they have the brain C-hip. Okay, but they're in a point in a stage where it's about perfecting the technology, because Esau is very close to springing forth his so-called NWO. All right.
Was able to control the computer with his thoughts just hours after the surgery. But yeah, that's likened to going back to this series right here, and this series came out in 2014. Nonetheless, this thing's real, man. This is actually happening. All right? I'm going to play this one more time, man. All right? Once again, this is from the TV series called Intelligence. It was first on CBS, but now it's on Amazon Prime. So I'm going to play just a little bit of this again.
We connected a human being directly to the information grid. Internet, telephone, satellite.
All the intel I have access to, I can see it like a virtual evidence wall. The chip processes it.
Yep, all by that charagma. They can do it all by way of this charagma, because the charagma is the end-all be-all for this man's system. The charagma, the C to the H to the I to the P, is the mark of this beast system according to the Bible. All right? And that's why we constantly go over this through the Holy Spirit, warning you to not take it, man. Getting ourselves ready in the spirit, hey, because you know what? We're held accountable also.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, let us get a few scriptures. It's like I said, I watched this live stream last night. I can't remember what, if or what scriptures. I'm pretty sure he went into the scriptures, but exactly what scriptures he went into. But just for maybe someone that might be new, okay, I'm gonna give a quick basic understanding, a rundown on this technology that the elder's talking about and what we are discussing right now. And we're gonna start right here in 1 Corinthians chapter 3. Okay, let's go over there. Let me move my button because it's gonna get in the way, definitely. All right, 3:16. It says, "Know ye not that ye are the temple of the Most High, and that the Spirit of the Most High dwelleth in you? If any man defile the temple of God, him shall God destroy, for the temple of God is holy, which temple ye are." Okay, so your body, your house, your temple, okay, it belongs to the Lord. All right, and so that's perfect. Let me just roll with it. Because there's another one. Let me get Leviticus. I think it's 19. 19. Let's see here. There you go. Leviticus 19:28 says, "Ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am the Lord Yahweh." All right. So in order for him to get his device inside of your body, he has to cut into your hand or your foot or wherever it's going to be in place. Okay. So this is the basic understanding here, because I always mention it's the same thing. In the old days, in the ancient days, in our history, we had physical temples, right, where we can go into and worship the Lord and so on and so forth. Okay, perfect example is in the book of Maccabees. All right, in the Apocrypha, in that history there. Okay, as a matter of fact, I think it's all in that first chapter, or in the first two, somewhere within the first two chapters, if I'm correct. But anyways, where you had, on any occasion, not just that particular account, we just pull it from that. When the heathen goes into the temple, all right, he's pretty much polluted because he's not supposed to be there. He, she, or whatever is not supposed to be there. Okay, and now then it goes a step further when they rear up an idol inside the Lord's temple. Now you defiled it. Okay, Antiochus, he spread pig's blood and stuff like that around the temple, and try to force the Israelites to to do all kinds of abominable things. Okay, inside the Lord's temple, its tabernacle. So they were able to come inside the physical buildings and defile it, or destroy the physical buildings, and I mean, I guess, I said destroy it, right? But see, the scripture speaking about the third temple is a spiritual house. 1 Peter 2, I think 2 Peter 2, I always forget it. It's 1 and 2 Peter 2, or chapter 2. But anyways, like around verse 4 or 5, it mentions a spiritual house. Okay, the spiritual house is what? Inside us Israelites. So how would, as we read here, cutting your flesh, how would we put an idol inside the temple if it's not a physical building now? Because the Israelites that are going to allow this man to cut into their flesh and insert his device inside of the body. And in every barcode, the UPC, the Universal Product Code, is 666. Okay, which that takes us back to Revelation, the 13th chapter. The word mark, okay, in the Greek is charagma. Okay, I don't have the blue letter, so I can't pull it up for you. Probably should have done it, but it's okay. You know, many lessons have been done about this. Because I know there's other things I want to get into. Not that I'm trying to put a time limit on this, but, you know, just to make it not entirely too long. But anyways, so in order for him to get in the Lord's third temple, which is your body, all right, you're the third temple, because the scriptures mentions lively stones, Yahushua being the chief cornerstone, okay, scriptures mention about careful how you build, okay, so we're building a thing here, all right, and so if you're the temple, as we read in 1 Corinthians 3:16, okay, in order for the devil, all right, which are these Edomites, the top elites, okay, in order for them to get inside your temple, they would have to cut into your flesh and insert their implantable device under your skin. And now you've defiled the temple, okay, with their device, which has 666, okay, in the device, which goes back to Revelation 13 and the very last verse, so 18, all right? Let him that have wisdom count the number, 666, okay? And now you've made Esau your God instead of the living power, Yahweh, our power, okay? You've now made Esau your God because you accepted him as, you know, your God inside of your temple, which is your body, you see? And you're now forsaking the Lord, okay? Then there's another one. It's actually in two places, but I know the one is in Exodus, I think it's 21 and like 5 or 6. I know there's another place. Yep, let's get this. This is very important because there's not many laws that Esau actually follows out of the Bible, and when he does them for wicked purposes, for his ultimate, you know, agenda. And here's one of them, one of the main ones. All right. As a matter of fact, let's just read from the top. Exodus 21:1. Now these are the judgments which thou shalt set before them. If thou buy an Hebrew servant, because yes, you know, other Israelites could have Israelites as slaves, but there's laws on how you deal with that Hebrew servant versus a heathen that's your servant. It's just, you know, whatever, it's the heathen, but you have to treat that Hebrew a certain way. All right. And there's even laws on, you know, if you beat the servant, injure them and stuff like that, you know, certain things, you know, are set in place for Israelites, but the heathens are just heathens. The Lord's like, whatever. All right. Side note. If thou buy an Hebrew servant, 6 years he shall serve, and in the 7th he shall go out free from nothing. Okay, you know, basically your debts being forgiven. Okay, and Esau doesn't do that. He puts you in debt. He keeps you in debt. Okay, and then he tries to give you a way out, which puts you in more debt. Okay, so he has you now in a perpetual trap, a loop of debt. Okay, where you can never get out of, you can never be free from. Okay. Like credit card companies, they don't like people that pay, you know, credit cards and stuff like that, you know, on time, because they don't really make money. They want the people who are going to be negligent in their payments and stuff like that, and keep you trapped, keep you in the loop. All right. Even car companies try to do it, where they try to give you this. Man, the word slipped my mind. All right, but you know, man, just slipped my mind. But you know, on like a overall payment or whatever, you get my point. Okay, Esau takes some of these laws in the Bible and he turns them, you know, wickedly, all right, or use them for a wicked purpose, because you can't turn the law wicked, but use them for a wicked purpose. So, and this is just one of the things that he keeps to, but he's once again using for a wicked purpose, where it says, if he came in by himself, he shall go out by himself. If he were married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master have given him a wife, and she have borne him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master, and he shall go out by himself. And if the servant shall plainly say, here's the key, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free. Because, you know, if that woman, you know, was a servant of that Hebrew man, and then the other man who needed help came to be a servant under him, and he gets with that woman, and bears children, well, that woman belongs to the we just say master. So that's his maid servant, or then his children or whatever. So that man goes out free, okay, without that family that he created under that servitude, right? So it says, I will not go out free. And this is likened to what the 2/3 of our people are doing now. All right. The Lord has given us all the way out, the same avenue. Repent, return to him. He says that in Jeremiah 3. Only acknowledge thine iniquities. Okay. Repent, and I will not keep anger forever, and so on and so forth. Okay. But the 2/3 are not taking the Lord's hand. All right. As I used to mention last year, the stick in the water. Okay. In the swamp or in the water, there's a stick, stretched out for you to grab hold on. Hopefully you get pulled to the side and you'll get out the water. But they're in the water, in the mud, in the swamp, sinking, all right? And they're slapping the stick away, okay? That's what they're doing, okay? The 2/3 of our people. So what they're doing is they're cleaving to Esau and his system and what he has to offer, right? So it says, then his master shall bring him unto the judges. He shall also bring him to the door, or onto the doorpost, and his master shall bore his ear through within all, and he shall serve him forever. Okay. Now, right here, this word all in the Hebrew is kwai. Okay. As a matter of fact, I almost want to pull it up, but let's just keep going. We don't have to go into it because there's another different, and we're all in another chapter. It comes out as another word, but it's the overall point that matters. It says, and his master shall bore his ear through within all, and he shall serve him forever. Okay. And so this is what Esau's offering the world. Okay. His device. And once they do that, they are saying that Esau's my man. Well, forget the world. Okay. Because it is universal. But, it only matters, when we talk about the Israelites. So the 2/3 of our people, what they're going to do is they're going to take the device. All right. Esau's going to offer them the device. Okay. And then they're going to take this device, which is likened to them boring their ear through with an all right, to say that I'm serving you forever. So they're going to implant his device under their skin, and they are going to be under Esau's servitude forever, which is why the Lord is going to destroy them. All right. So yeah. So Lord willing, that was understandable in in a short fashion, because we've gone into it in a longer way. But I just want to make it brief there. So let's play some more of this video.
Because you know what? We're held accountable also. We're held accountable more because we're teaching this. Okay? We all have to get ourselves together, for the outward temptation. All right? We plan to not take it. And for you other members of the Hopeful Elect, you plan to not take it. But you see how real it is, man. They'll come out with a damn TV series, and you'll see that, they're actually doing this. They're really doing this, man. Okay? So back in the article, all right? According to the company, Powell was able to control the computer with his thoughts just hours after the surgery. And they keep calling it the telepathy device. Hey, these devils are proud, man.
Beautiful, because that makes me think about, I didn't think about that. I'm glad. Yep, the water have much more shot. Because if we go over here, to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, all right, it mentions these things, all right? Right here, verse 9. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan. So not the actual angel Satan on the left-hand side, but those whose working come after Satan, which are these top elites, okay? The top Edomites on the planet, these devils, okay? With all power and signs and lying wonders, giving people eyesight back, all right? Curing, I don't know, paralysis, whatever they, all the different things they're trying to make this technology do, okay? Those are lying wonders, right? Okay, because they're signs that are going to fool, 2/3 of our people and the rest of the nations. But we see them as according to the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai Shai, as what they are, which are lying wonders. Okay, because these are false miracles achieved on the left hand side through witchcraft, sorcery, magic, and technology, all combined into one. So all with all power and signs and lying wonders. And what is it that dude Elon Musk, who changed his name to Kekes Maximus or something like that, okay, which goes back to some kind of I think Egyptian deity, one of those like gods of the dead or something like that. All right, so I forget exactly what it was. Kek, okay. Anyways, and with all deceivableness, you see, people are going to be deceived of unrighteousness in them that perish, because that was their lot. Okay, we just pray that it's not our lot. Okay, we trust in the Lord. We constantly pray, for repentance, and pray that the Lord, take not His Spirit from us. Okay, but to the 2/3, okay, it's their lot to perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, which goes out right now through the mouths of the prophets, from the apostles on down, that they might be saved, because, having a chance to repent, and that the Lord's Spirit be upon them in a time of trouble, especially the hour of temptation, that they don't take the device. You see? And for this cause the highest shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned, you see, who believe not the truth, right? Scoffers and mockers, right? But had pleasure in unrighteousness. See? They had pleasure in their own ways, and falling behind Esau and his system, and the world and things of that nature, right?
Hey, these devils are proud, man. But they're proud because they see the work of their hands, which ultimately is the Heavenly Father giving you this technology. You're not doing this on your own. The Lord gave you this to fulfill His prophecies. All right? In particular, the prophecy of the mark of the beast, The telepathy device allows paralyzed patients to communicate with and control computers using only their minds. But guess what? This is just the beginning, because very soon the agenda is for the general population to have this technology. Okay? That's what's coming down the road ahead, man. Not only people with paralysis are going to have this, the average human is going to have this. And this is what they want. Okay? The ultra-thin threads of the Neuralink implant were inserted by the company's proprietary RI robot in collaboration with UCLH neurosurgeons Harith Akram and William Moorhead. This procedure marks Neuralink's first human trial outside of North America. That's why it's a milestone. Expanding beyond the U.S., and more recently, Canada.
And I've been trying to find that, because I knew it was something, because I mentioned that the other day. There was about patients in Canada, but I can't really seem to find. I might just have to keep digging. But I knew there was something on Canada. All right, and I didn't hear that last night. So, yep, see, so that, confirmed that I was right about the Canada thing. I just couldn't really find, because, like with AI, it always changes. If you don't go into something right away, you try to come back, you might not pull up the same thing that you had before. Okay, and that's what happened. I remember reading something about Canada. Okay, so yeah, it's all good. But so now I know for sure, because that's like twice or three times now.
His first participant, Nolan Arbaugh, received the same device last year. And the point is that it's an agenda, man. This is the agenda on the table by the wicked elite. All right? That's why they're moving beyond, Babylon. They're moving beyond Babylon the Great, because the prophecy tells you that everyone around the planet is going to be mandated to have this. All right? Neuralink said Paul's successful operation highlights the potential of his brain-computer interface technology to restore independence and communication for people living with paralysis. But for everyone else, it's going to be like they have superpowers. That's how they're going to look at it.
Right. And I'll stop it right there. Okay, we're going to move on. You can watch that. Well, you see it right there on the screen what's flashing. I can't see the whole title, but the channel is Yahweh Shah is coming back, all caps, ! Elder Kazak Yala. All right, so subscribe to that channel, watch that, be edified. But we're gonna jump over here to I'm gonna leave that because we have to come back to that. Let's I don't know. Actually, I'll go into this first, because that way we can just drop this one, because I just had these two clips sitting in my editor, so we can play this one next. And I edited it down. You probably saw it over there from my YouTube. It's like 6 minutes, but I just edited it down to what I want to get from out of there, which was Trump's response. So let's just play it.
President Trump says he hopes China can help end the Russia-Ukraine war ahead of his meeting with Xi Jinping this week. But Trump also says he is assessing the Russian threat after President Vladimir Putin and his top general claim they successfully tested a nuclear-powered cruise missile.
They're not playing games with us. We're not playing games with them either. We test missiles all the time, and I don't think it's an appropriate thing for Putin to be saying either, by the way. You ought to get the war ended. A war that should have taken 1 week is now in its soon 4th year. That's what you ought to do instead of testing missiles.
All right, I'll put it for you one more time. All right, so these are his words, right? DJ Nero.
They're not playing games with us. We're not playing games with them either. We test missiles all the time, and I don't think it's an appropriate thing for Putin to be saying either, by the way. You ought to get the war ended. A war that should have taken 1 week is now in its soon 4th year. That's what you ought to do instead of testing missiles.
All right, so yeah, so I mean, and it's on the screen for you to also read it, you know, if you couldn't hear it too clear. All right, but he was referring to that recent missile that Russia tested, supposed to have unlimited range. Okay, and we could just hit a couple of scriptures real quick. On, as a matter of fact, let's get that one. I like reading that one as soon as this comes up. Okay, let's go up here to Joel chapter 3. All right, now, as a matter of fact, let's get. Well, no, I was going to get the top. We just get right here at 9. So Joel 3:9, it says, "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles." The Gentiles talking about the heathen nations. "Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I'm strong." All right, and that's what's happening. Those countries actually have a standing fighting army. All right, are, you know, aligning themselves, you know, strategically. Which it says that, well, not my exact words, but, you know, in Isaiah 14, all right, has thou become as weak as we, all right? So who they're aligning themselves with, they're able to gain certain, you know, missile defense technology or offensive capabilities, maybe share some intel, or, you know, do like joint drills with their Navy or military or Air Force, or, you know, whatever the case may be, all right? And they're all preparing for World War III. And, you know, in Revelation chapter, 17, ultimately what it's going to boil down to is missiles flying, and those missiles are going to be all headed to one place, which is here in Babylon the Great. So it says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I'm strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord Yahweh. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, or Yahweh Shaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about, because that's what that goes into. Yahweh Shaphat, and judge go into the same word, all right, which, I mean, to judge, all right? They're going to judge them by what? Okay, by bringing war, okay? Ultimately, they're all going to eventually shoot the missiles on America, all right? But then Yahushua is going to pop up to finish the rest of them off. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for the wickedness is great. Multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord Yahweh is near in the valley of decision. All right, and so that's ultimately what's going to happen. That World War III is coming, and everybody's going to keep building up, you know, their nuclear arsenals and their missiles and their offensive, defenses, and everything else. All right, until that day arrives where it all comes to a head. All right, because that's, you know, the prophecy of the Lord. That's the words of the Lord coming into fruition. All right, and that was probably the shortest one. I just wanted to really hit that one quick, and we actually dropped that, because I'm going to come back over here in a second. But I want to read up into this that I was looking into yesterday. So let's transition over here. All right. So I punched this in yesterday. I had to bring it back up a second time. It says, besides Snap and Wick, what other programs are affected and may also be cut? Because we're all, you know, listening and tuned into this so-called no Snap November. Okay. Where these people are saying, hey, the well is run out. All right, it's run dry. Okay, nobody's getting no funding. Now there are certain states, a few, there are certain states who are saying they're going to pull their own funds to, try to back up this, so-called food crisis that's about to happen. But that's only going to go so far. It's only going to last for so long. It's probably only going to last for that 1 month. And depending on how much funds they have, it may not even last that long. But it's not going to be, continued, and the federal government is not going to reimburse them. So it's not going to be, let's say it just stays shut down for the rest of the year. They don't have funds for the rest of the year. They better have funds for 1 month, and they're not going to get paid back. So it's not, but ultimately we still have to see exactly what's going to happen. All right. It's all, up to the spirit and the will, the power of Yahweh Shemar Shah to see exactly how this situation plays out. But it's creeping up very close. So it says, besides SNAP and WIC, numerous other federal programs are at risk of significant cuts, particularly due to the upcoming 2025 Farm Bill reauthorization. Okay, yeah, I'm glad I read this because that's what another thing I want to pull up, and I'm sure I copied it yesterday, but I'm not sure if it was still copied because we're gonna pull that up later, so and see what it's about. Particularly due to the upcoming 2025 Farm Bill reauthorization and broader budget negotiations. In addition to nutrition programs, potential reductions could affect healthcare, housing assistance, and aid for seniors, families, and those with disabilities. So, things trickle down. There's a trickle down effect that may occur. So it says other nutrition programs. The Emergency Food Assistance Program supplies food to local emergency feeding organizations like food banks. Cuts to this program are already affecting the availability of staple items such as produce and meat, which that's been mentioned. All right. Where food banks are going to be cut. Okay. Because of, this happening. So, people aren't going to be able to go to food banks or get, like food boxes and stuff like that. Okay. Which was, is helpful to some homes, low income homes. All right. Commodity Supplemental Food Programs, or CSFP, provides monthly food packages to low-income senior citizens. All right. While some funding was recently maintained, the program was previously targeted for cancellation, and future cuts remain a possibility. So it says the program was previously targeted for cancellation, and future cuts remain a possibility. So if it doesn't get fully terminated, there's still going to be more cuts. And this is a program that it says is specifically for what? Senior citizens, low-income senior citizens. All right. So child nutrition programs, several programs that provide meals and snacks. And this one really thought about yesterday. And I said it in my head before I saw it, but I was remembering, school lunch programs, because I remember in the summertime where we would actually go up to the school and get a free. It wasn't all the time, but sometimes we would go up there and it'd be a free, a lunch, all right, for summer. Okay. But, also reading on, it says several programs that provide meals and snacks to low-income children could be at risk. This includes the National School Lunch Program, School Breakfast Program. Yep, because they have breakfast. If you get to school early enough, there's breakfast. All right. Of course, school lunch, obviously. Child and Adult Care Food Program. Summer food. There you go, right there. Summer Food Service Program is what I was talking about. And the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program, which I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things that are going to be listed on this long, list of things here that most people are not even aware of, certain programs and things of that nature. All right. And if you're low income, I think you get free lunch at school and stuff like that. Okay. But depending on, I guess, your household's income, lunch wasn't free. But anyways, moving on. Summer EBT. All right. Sunbucks. Launched in summer 2024, this program provides grocery benefits to families whose children are eligible for free and reduced. There you go, right there. See, for free and reduced price school meals. Its funding could be targeted in a budget reconciliation. All right, and that was just launched last year. Okay, so that's about to be hurt. Food distribution program on Indian reservations. Okay, and I mean we all know the history of that. Okay. Which it should be none of them struggling. It should be no Israelites struggling, period. But, of course, it's just not according to, the will of the Lord, all right? The curses and the way that the Lord has things played out. But anyways, food distribution program on Indian reservations provides food commodities to low-income households on or near Indian reservations. All right. Gus Schumacher Nutrition Center Program. This is probably the one that stood out the most. Like, I've never even heard of anything even close to this one. But yeah, GusNIP offers grants for projects that incentivize SNAP participants to purchase more fruits and vegetables. I'm pretty sure, ain't no Jake in the Hood ever heard about that, right? The Gus Schumacher Nutrition Incentive Program offers grants for projects that incentivize SNAP participants to purchase more fruits and vegetables, okay? And, but it is, people going to buy what they buy anyways, which they're trying to put cuts to what you can buy. Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program provides vouchers to low-income seniors for purchasing fresh produce. And the farmers market is pretty good, but they're expensive, man. Okay, I mean, you do the best with what you got, but man, you can eat farmers market, and hey, cool, but man, they can be expensive, man. Okay, healthcare. Okay, so moving to another realm of things, Medicaid budget proposals have previously called for hundreds of billions of dollars in cuts to Medicaid over the next decade. Such cuts could eliminate or reduce healthcare access for children, seniors, and people with disabilities. Right, Affordable Care Act, the ACA subsidies, the enhanced premium subsidies for the ACA marketplaces are set to expire, which could cause premiums to rise significantly for millions of low-income Americans. All right, so there's a lot of things being affected. Oh, here's another big one, right? Housing and energy assistance, housing choice vouchers, Section 8. Funding for rental assistance for low-income households has been threatened, potentially raising rents and causing housing instability. Yeah, and people have been online bragging about, that one chick, that video I watched. You mad? It just made you, what she said, want to punch me in my face because I'm playing, X amount of money, for my, however big she said her family was, pretty huge, I think, like 5, 6, 7, something like that. Anyways, okay, paying $50 of rent and just bragging about it online, okay? And she got terminated. All right. And there's other people, who have made use of the system and not just use it as in a stepping stone, but actually use as in, overused and utilized it as a means of life. Okay. And misusing, that's the better word, misusing. All right. So yeah, so you got Section 8, the housing choice vouchers, which, and it's crazy because, like if you go to sign up for those things, if you have a woman, which is usually always a woman by herself anyways, because that's what gets her through, a woman with children or a child or a pregnant woman, okay, it doesn't matter if she came in at number 265, they will, at first chance, all right, depending on other people on the waiting list, they will bump her up to the top and give her housing, all right, first, because she's a single mother. Well, she should have a man, right? She's a single mother, okay? So she'll get bumped up. It might be people that are waiting 2 years to get cleared on the list. And she'll come in and she'll get bumped up to the top of the list because she's a single mother, okay? And then they get in there and they misuse the system, okay? When there's other needy people out there, see? Public housing, significant cuts to the funding for operating, maintaining, and repairing public housing have been proposed. Low-income home energy assistance program. This program, which helps low-income households with heating and cooling costs, has been proposed for complete elimination in past budget talks. And as I said before, pretty sure a lot of these things most people have not even heard of, okay? To even, try to go and seek out. Other critical services. Temporary, they ask this on your taxes, right? Temporary assistance for needy families and other certain, things you have to fill out. Has anyone in your household this year received 10th? The block grant for this program, which offers cash aid, job training, and other services to low-income families with children, has been subject to previous calls for deep cuts. So I'm pretty sure that's probably back, as talks on the chopping block again. Okay, SSI, supplemental security income. This program provides aid to low-income individuals who have disabilities or are elderly. Past proposals have targeted this for cuts, all right? Which, and it's for those that don't know, there's a difference between Social Security and SSI, all right? Anyways, in which some people, they actually get both of those checks, all right, to a certain amount. Okay, they'll get 2 checks. Okay. Anyways, social services block grant. This flexible funding stream for states, which supports services like childcare, protective services, and Meals on Wheels, has also been threatened. All right, education programs. Federal cuts could impact funding for schools with a high percentage of low-income students, Title I schools, special education programs, and student loan programs. Okay, and that's actually the end of that. Well, see, like I said, this AI mode brings up good questions, before you even think of what it says, which specific programs are most likely to face cuts. And yeah, I actually want to click on that. Because I do have that. Yeah, I got it copied on my board. So let's let AI do its thing real quick, see what it gives us. And we just try to get to the key. Okay, so nutrition programs, SNAP, obviously, the number one thing. As a matter of fact, let's read that. A key target for cuts, the SNAP program is currently experiencing a temporary funding suspension that began on November 1st, 2025, due to the ongoing federal government shutdown. Legislation passed in July 2025 by the Trump administration, and Congress also includes long-term cuts exceeding $100 billion for the program. These reductions are linked to tightened work requirements and eligibility criteria. Okay, then the Emergency Food Assistance Program, child nutrition programs, and programs plural. All right, women, we mentioned this yesterday, women, infants, and children, WIC, all right, not men, okay, women, infant, and children, WIC program, okay, healthcare. These are some of the things just mentioned: Medicaid, enhanced premium tax credits, Affordable Care Act, the ACA. Yeah, they'll ask you about that from time to time and certain things that you fill out. Planned Parenthood funding. Wow, okay. The Project 2025 blueprint and related proposals have included specific provisions to prohibit Planned Parenthood from receiving federal Medicaid funding. That's interesting. Same thing here, Section 8. Continuum of Care Program, the COC, whatever that is. Let's see what it says. Republicans in the House of Representatives have recently urged the Department of Housing and Urban Development, the HUD, to proceed cautiously with cuts to the COC program, which provides permanent housing for people experiencing homelessness. Wow, that's very, very interesting there. Okay, low-income energy assistance program. I think that was mentioned too. Other critical TANF, and research and conservative program at USDA. Okay, so yeah, so let's go down here and see if we can copy and paste what was in our board right there. All right, so while Congress passed a second one-year extension of the 2018 Farm Bill in December 2024, and this is the 2025 Farm Bill reauthorization right there. It says here, funding and authorization for many programs expired on September 30th, 2025, with the federal government in a shutdown. The expiration has created additional uncertainty. The reauthorization of the Farm Bill and its related program is facing significant delays due to partisan divisions and the government shutdown. State of the 2025 Farm Bill. The previous 2018 Farm Bill has now been extended twice in one-year increments. The first extension passed in November 2023 and a second through the American Relief Act of 2025, extending it again through September 30th, 2025. This second extension also provided $30.78. Oh, sorry, no. 30 billion. Okay, yeah, it says 30.78 billion. Okay, my bad. In additional relief funds, primarily for disaster and economic assistance. Despite attempts to draft new legislation throughout 2024, the House and Senate did not agree on a new comprehensive bill. The current government shutdown, which began on October 1st, 2025, has halted all progress on the Farm Bill. The reauthorization has taken a back seat to the appropriations fight. So programs most likely to be affected. Programs without a budget baseline. We probably won't read into all of this. Conservation programs. Programs with expired authority. Discretionary programs. Okay, then it goes on to say contingency plans and next steps. Continuing resolution or a new farm bill. Until a new farm bill is passed or another extension is enacted, policy uncertainty will continue to grow. Okay, permanent law and market disruption. If a bill isn't passed by January 1st, 2026, old, outdated permanent laws from the 1930s and 40s could take effect. This could cause major market disruption, particularly for the dairy industry, potentially leading to skyrocketing consumer prices for milk and other dairy products, as if eggs aren't high already. Okay, sometimes they'll go down. Okay, I'll try to look for it. I don't always buy eggs, but I do check them because when they're low, I'll buy. All right, and then when they go up, you just out of luck, right? But sometimes, egg prices will drop, but then they'll shoot back up. Most of the time they're high. Milk, it goes up. It's, what it says here: consumer prices for milk and other dairy products. And that's it. That's it right there. Focus on farm bill issues. Once the government reopens, Congress will need to prioritize farm bill reauthorization. Key issues that are expected to be addressed include farm labor reform, disaster assistance, conservation policies, farm credit, and regulatory concerns. All right. So, and actually, there's still another video I want to get to, and I was going to do it, but instead of going into it blind, I'm still giving myself a chance to watch all of it. About the people. What the heck was it about? Oh yeah, the buying now and paying later for groceries. Okay, it was a little video I was watching. Haven't watched all of it yet. But what I'll do is I'll get rid of this, and I'm through with that. And I want to grab one scripture, and we'll close it from there. And we'll grab the 51st chapter, if I'm correct. That's the one. Yep. Babylon has been a go. Let me get 6. Flee out of the midst of Babylon. Uh-oh, the elder's in the way. Hold on. Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord Yahweh's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense, a payback. Babylon has been a golden cup in the hand of Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken, right, with their ways, their policies. And what are they doing now? Trying to expand, all right, their reach, okay? The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. And America's their cash cow, all right? So, yeah, of course they're dealing with her heavily, okay? And they're going to get judged accordingly. It says Babylon is falling. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her take balm for her pain, if so be she may be healed. All right, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. All right, this is what the big brother Yashamath was talking about the other day. One of his morning lessons that he does. All right, with the I can't remember the guy's name or the chick for that matter. But speaking about how this place is done. All right, there's no bringing it back. There's no people helping one another because the scriptures speak against helping one another. It says that the love of many shall wax cold. See, the scriptures speak against people helping one another, but it mentions people coming against one another for lack of bread and so on and so forth. Okay. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. And a lot of people just can't come to grips with Babylon being destroyed. They kind of see the economy jacked up, but for this place to completely just go out of order and out, okay, a commission, people can't see that. All right. They think that there's going to be states like they so-called see some kind of end to this situation. It's going to get better one day, or this is going to happen, or that's going to change. We got to do this to change that. No, man. The Lord's going to bring this place down and then light it on fire. Okay. Forsake her and let us go everyone into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. All right. So, and that's why the Lord's going to light that fire up to the skies and destroy this place. Okay. So we'll probably end this various article session here. Lord willing, you will edify. I'm not sure if we'll come back later or tomorrow or, whenever the Spirit allows. All right. And try to get into that other thing I wanted to get into. But for now, I'm going to say shalom.